What I'm saying, actually, you see, I mean, it's a combination of
As an expert in the various martial arts in China, what did you think of the fighting that you saw in the movies?
Martial art has a very, very deep meaning.
Hello, Josafath. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and I'm happy to talk to another student of Dr. Maltsev.
Can you share what do you train, what do you study, and what you teach, and who do you teach?
I work a lot with police and bodyguards here in my country. As you maybe know, sadly, some parts of my country are one of the most dangerous in the world, you know, because of the narco war. So I have a lot of students in that area. In 1 year, for example, I trained about 6,000 police officers, 6,000 in just 1 year, and a lot of bodyguards. So I have been a passionate martial arts artist. I train passionately martial arts. I have studied many martial arts, but my last approach since the last 2 decades are based in what method that is named the INKOGA method, which is for me, it's the best police method in the world. It's a methodology, it's a system, it's not a martial art. I started to train Sistema, you know, Vladimir Vasiliev and Mikhail Ryabko for about now 15 years. And since 20 years ago, I studied scenario-based training, adrenalin conditioning, that's the way they mention, with the founder. When I say the founder, he developed this method in the 70s. And after that, a lot of people start to talk about adrenaline, scenario-based training, and whatever. So, and of course, Dr. Maltsev. Okay? Sadly, my way of learning, my culture, and my personality make mistakes during the learning process, but that doesn't mean I don't learn. I can learn more, but it was not the right time by my personality. So I learned a lot with Dr. Maltsev, and with his approach and his knowledge, I understand a lot of the things that I have been doing. So when you ask me a direct question, let's say when I train civilians, and they have the time, I use a lot of the approach of Sistema and Dr. Maltsev. And when I don't have time to civilians, I train scenario-based training, which for me is the best thing for people that they don't want to, you know, they don't have the discipline. They don't want to have the discipline. They are regular people. They just are afraid. So I teach them that. And for police work and bodyguards, I use a lot of the approach of Dr. Maltsev and the INKOGA method, which is for arrest control.
Can you share, please, what distinguishes your method, your training from others?
Basically, I need to change the mentality of the person. You know, all the time, and my instructors, it's very interesting because I am very lucky. I have bad instructor and good instructor. The good ones, they all think the same way, in different words. They all speak about the person, not in a very spiritual, not spiritual, but they take about the person. If you can change the person, the tool he used, the style, whatever style it is, it can work. But if you don't change the person, the tool won't work. What I mean of this, a knife is a knife. Depending on the person using it, it can save lives or it can take lives, right? So we try to train the person with concepts. When we start the training, we use different concepts for the person. For example, we use the word a lot of control. You have to control yourself to can control the situation. And for controlling yourself, you need the proper knowledge, the proper time to develop the skills, and the proper, they say mindset, but it's more the proper mentality, the heart you need to use. So our methodology is based on knowledge and physical skills. Just using physical skills will be more for emotional, short time to train the people. So we normally try to make that whole person change in the whole aspect so they can make work the things on the street. Otherwise, it will be like a monkey just, like a monkey with a gun or a monkey with a knife. So we don't have that approach.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting. Can you share how you said many times that you have to change a person, like his mentality, but how you can do it? Josafath, you said very interesting thing that is very important to change a person, but how to change a person?
When people came to a course or to a training, civilians, I have to divide my answer in two ways, professionals and not professionals, okay? I know professional is someone that knows how to do the things and when to do it, but let's just reduce the word for professionals, law enforcement, they use it for profession, okay, and civilian. So, when civilians come to classes, mostly they are because of insecurity, because they are afraid of something. Men, and even then there is a division. Women came because surviving necessity. Men normally go to self-defense because ego. Normally, 90% of the men go because they want to. There's ego. Martial arts, MMA, mixed martial arts, karate, Krav Maga, blah blah. It's because ego. Normally, it's because ego. But in the very deep, it's because fear. But women, when they approach, it's because surviving, because their psyche need is more deep, their fear. Professionals, when they come, it's tourism. They send them, okay? It's not because they want it. Normally, professional people go to a court because company sending, police department sending. It's not because they want. But there's one that they want to improve. But that's the minimum. We do in our job or in our job, we have to use the body because that's the way we learn. So when you ask me how you change mentality, it's based, of course, in knowledge to the mind, but it's a psyche, body, activity. So they need to train specific drills so the mind can change because we use the body. Otherwise, we can do painting or playing the piano or, I don't know, something that you can use the body that affects the mind, and the opposite. You can use the mind and maybe change the body. So we have drills, we have exercises that with time, maybe some of the drills, they change the mind immediately. Some of the drills, it takes time so the person gets that change of the mind. Some is very short, in one day, some they take mind, but it's like a maturity. People need to let time pass like a fruit. A lot of the drills, I still don't understand it, but they work. I keep using them. I know they change the mind because they change my mind, but I still don't have that deep knowledge. So I use them because they change me in a good way, so I try to use with my students, but there are not a lot of the drills that I use without knowledge, okay? But if they change it, I try to use it because for good.
Can you please share what is adrenaline conditioning training?
Yes. Okay. Adrenaline conditioning is you make the person or a human being, you put it in a stress situation. To put a person in a stressful situation is very easy, depending on the person, depending on his trauma. So you put the person under a state that the front part of the brain is not working. Now there's a lot of investigation, but my information is from the American side because I'm more close to Americans. That doesn't mean I don't try to follow other studies, but adrenaline conditioning, you put the person in a stress situation where basically he can't use the front part of his brain, the logical, and his mind is, or his state is more emotional, and he's using more the limbic system, the more primitive state. The stress depends on the person. Some persons get afraid of a knife, some persons don't get afraid of a knife, some persons get afraid of a dog, some persons don't get afraid of the dog. So it's very particular, very unique individual what makes a person stressed. Of course, there are many stressors that are learned. For example, you see a lot of, this is, for example, you haven't been in a criminal situation, but you see TV, you read about the effects, what happened in a assault, you hear about that, so people start to get information, and they have to have an idea of what maybe happened in that situation, so that you learn about that, but you haven't been there. So putting a person in a stress situation in what we are working, because it's self-defense, is easy because they have preconceived wrong information about what happened. Make sense? So we have to reply what maybe they expect, but that's not the truth. But we are trying to help them. So we put the person in a scenario, violence scenario. We say that violence is just an overused word. What is violent to me, maybe it's not violent to you. Depending on the culture, depending on the person. So we don't use, I have to use the word violence because it's a common understanding around many people. But I don't like to use it with my students the word violence. So for the sake of exchanging ideas, they say, okay, we're going to put you in a violent situation. But I have discovered that for some people, it's not, what we make is not violent. It's like, if you don't scare me. So if you put me a gun, I don't get scared. But if you tell me my daughter is sick, I get scared. Or some people, you say, I'm going to shoot you, and they say, well, you can shoot me. I don't have nothing to lose. But if you tell to him, hey, you're not going to receive your payment this weekend, they get stressed. Makes sense what I'm saying? Being in real situation, police officers, soldiers, if the stress is so high, they can access that knowledge. So we put the person there, and progressively, that's part of the key. Little by little, you make them have success. So what happens? The person starts to have confidence about what he can do under a stress situation for him, and with time, and that's very fast, maybe 2-3 scenarios proper do it, because there's a lot of scenario-based training, wrong do it. As I told you, putting a person in a good situation is easy. What is risk is what happened after the scenario. There's no emotional protection. There's no recovery. Normally they put the person in a, shouting, screaming, shooting. Oh, I say bad words, do the technique. Oh, you do it very good, and they let the person go. No, you just traumatize the person. But it has to be a good trauma, not about trauma. Normally what I do, because my instructor developed this, normally when it's a scenario wrong make it or wrong develop, it has two effects. Person gets, because it's like, it's emotional, people get aggressive in the future, in their personality, or they get passive. They don't want to get involved. But we want to make people get assertive to the middle. They're going to have emotion, they're going to have fear, but they respond assertive way. But normally, if you don't have this emotional protection, good trauma, or a good trauma, that's what happens. There are two types of scenarios: learning scenario, test scenario. Test scenarios when you put the person and say, do what you want. I want to prove you, normally this is the wrong way. You put the person, you say, I want to teach you, so I'm going to show you something. And they start to, attack the person fast, and they tell the person, do whatever you want. But they say bad words, violence, and the person gets freed because he has never, martial arts normally. They have never trained before with emotion. And then the person says, you see, of course the person gets free. Normally they get free. The person, and now the instructor says, you see, you don't know how to do this. Try my method. So that then the person is scared, is traumatized, and he starts to believe in the new information. But even then the person gets scared and he has a bad trauma. So when you do a scenario, you need to have an instructor behind the person to be a learning scenario. You don't leave the person alone because he's so stressed, he don't know what to do. So you need an instructor that he's helping him go through the scenario. That way, and of course there are many things around the scenarios. I have good professionals, guys, good professionals. You know what I mean professionals. They work really good, but still there is a person behind the professional. So when you put the person in that scenario, something happens in their mind that they get back to that old trauma. And if you don't detect that during the scenario, you can reinforce the trauma again to the person. It's scary, but it's true. It's scary because you are playing with the mind and the brain and the emotion, that primitive brain. You are playing basically with that. So it's not like a scenario-based training is not something easy. You have to be very careful because in some part of the world it's a type of therapy. It's a type of therapy. They put the person and they use a dummy and they use a stick and they say, oh, come on, hit the stick so you feel good. Feel that bag and you feel good. Put the head of your boss there and hit it. You have to make them understand about their emotion, not what you think. They have to go deep inside the person. Every person feels war different. They have their own war. So you have to teach him how to control it. And when he controls it, now what technique you are going to teach? What technique? Oh, I'm going to teach, for example, I do sambo, okay? It's an example. I do sambo. Well, you can be throwing people around all the time. Some people deserve it. Some people don't deserve it. So you can be, shooting in the how do you say, in the throat, poking the eyes. You can be breaking arms. Some people wear it. Some people deserve it. Some people not. So what's the mission? So when you have the mission, now you can try to see if your style work for that. If it doesn't work, don't have a delusion. It don't work for that. Period. Doesn't matter how good you are, you can be very good. What is important is what your students can do. So if the method is proper to the mission, go ahead. Teach it. It's good. You have the two proper components. Emotions. Why emotions? Because again, it's not a machine. People wish to respond like a cybernetic machine. Exactly. Sorry, you can be sick. You can have your girlfriend or your boyfriend can break you. The last night, your daughter or your kid maybe is sick. You just lost your job. So that day in particular, you feel very bad. So maybe you will respond very emotional. You will respond angry, maybe. Or maybe you will be afraid. No, I feel sick. I don't want to be in war. Sorry, you have to control that. So emotions, and then comes the method. What method is proper for the mission? Is going to the ground, fighting the ground? Sorry, if you are a bodyguard, you can't be doing that. VIP is the most important thing. If you are fighting a knife, do you realize you're going to be caught, or you just talk about being caught? Because you can talk a lot about getting caught and keep the fight. No, it's not easy. Are you prepared for that? And some people get overtraining on that. They go and cut pigs, they put pigs and they cut the pig, and they stab, and whatever. And that's dangerous because basically you are developing a killer, and when they realize in future what they do is not easy. It's going to affect the person. Very few persons can do that and get you like, oh, I go and eat a Starbucks or a coffee and have a nice day. Or no, don't get wrong. It's not the proper way to teach a person. You have to see what the person has, what he needs or she needs, and after you realize that as an instructor, even you can be very, very fair, and you have to be very honest to say, hey, Mary, you are very good. You need to train hard. As a matter of fact, you are so good, Mary, that I advise you to start learning more. And also I can tell you, Mary, you still have to work a lot on things before teaching you how to use a gun. Why? Because you are, we say in Mexico, short, candles?
Yes.
What's the name of the...
I don't know, but I understand.
Yeah, so you are very short-tempered. So you explode very easy. So if I teach you how to use a gun, you're going to be shooting your husband, your boyfriend, or whoever, your family, because you are high temperament. So a good instructor needs to see this, because now maybe the skills are right, the method, but the emotions are not good. So a good instructor has to see that. And all this is just in one method, which is that scenario-based training. And I'm trying to explain you about scenario-based training. Working for a professional is harder. It's harder because now I have to teach them professionals. That's when I use, for example, the INKOGA method and a lot of the Slavic, because I teach the motions and I use the method. And to be honest, when I use when police, I use INKOGA with Slavic. INKOGA because, handcuffing, baton, high-speed persecutions. It's a whole complete, I'm going to say it, specialized system, which is not for everybody, okay? By itself, scenario-based training is a methodology. It's not a style. You put the person, then you teach what method you want. I don't care what method, but you have to be good so the person don't deform his personality.
And how do you think, is it important for the instructor, for the master, to know psychology science?
Oh, a lot. It's one of the, there's many approaches of psychology. That's the truth. So I think the question will be the proper approach of psychology, okay? Because there's a lot of psychology modern psychology that is like crazy, like it's too much. It's like no way. But anyway, it's basic. As I told you, I'm ignorant, like many other people. Ignorant means I don't know a lot of things. I told you in the beginning, I do some drills that I don't understand how they work. Really. I don't know how they work. But I see the improvement in the personality, that's psychology, because the expression and the habits of conduct of the person change. Makes sense? That's psychology, because the conduct of the person change, his way of thinking. So, because many times I see in videos similar drills, but you can see they are going to the involved down. You can see the conduct is going to affect the person in the wrong way. This is a degradation. It's degrading the person. Ignorance is something we have to be working on, to don't be ignorant. So, one way to start it is an instructor has to be ethic. And in ethics means I want to make a person good person. But a lot of instructors get lost in their own image, and I want to say the word ego. So we understand, we start to learn what we are doing with the student. He's copying us. He's copying our virtues and our defects. Defects, you say defects in English?
Yes.
You know, our pros and cons. He wants to use the same t-shirt. He wants to talk like me. He wants to behave like me. Even without knowing it, the student wants to behave like me. He's going to copy the wrong thing. He's going to copy the bad habits. Even if I don't want it, he's going to copy. That takes us to a higher standard. But if we don't know about psychology, we don't care about that. We just want to show how good I am. Because you don't know you are injuring people because you are ignorant. Not some people will hurt students by ignorance. Bad people will do it knowing they are wrong and they still do it. That's the difference between a bad people, for me, bad people and good people. Some people say he's not a bad people. No, he is. He knows it. He knows what he's doing, and consciously he's doing it. That's a bad person. I told my student, when you're an instructor, some of my students, they ask me because they want to be instructor. Do you know what I mean? You know? They want to be instructor. And I say, well, if you want to ride your car at fast speed, drink, go and crash yourself in the tree you want. Pick the tree you want to crash. I don't care. But when you're an instructor, you are riding a car, and there are people inside your car. So you are the one that has to be the more sharp, the more intelligent, the more humility. With more humility, so you recognize you have a powerful car, but you have people. You don't drive 200 kilometers. You can do it by yourself, kill yourself if you want. But when you're an instructor, you have people around you. You are driving them. They trust on you. Ask them to put the seatbelt. Take care of them. Show them what type of songs are good for them. Don't just put music. Put good music so they learn. So when they go down of that car, they arrive safe, and now they can live.
Thank you very much for your interview, and I guess this is not our last interview.
What I'm saying, actually, you see, I mean, it's a combination
As an expert
of both.
in the various martial arts in China, what did you think of the fighting that you saw in the
But
movies?
martial art